Once upon a time, in a quiet village, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there lived an honest gardener named Samir. He was entrusted with the responsibility of taking care of his most prized, a beautiful garden that had the eyes and a of great pride for the villagers. In the morning, Samir would wake up and head straight to the garden. He would water plants, weed beds, and trim with great care. Villagers loved to stroll the garden, admire the beauty and the colorful array of flowers that bloomed there. Many of them had appreciate Samir's dedication and work in making the gardens. Often praised him for his and thanked him for beauty into their lives. Samir was a humble man, and he never took the praise for granted. He knew that his job was important, and he took pride in it. For him, the joy of the villagers was his reward. One day, a rolled into the strong winds and rain lashed against the and the trees dangerously. As the storm raged through the night, men hurried for the safety of the garden, and when the first rays of sunlight peeked next morning, the villagers rushed to the garden to see if their fears had been realized. To their horror, they saw that several plants had been damaged during the storm. Some of the flowers were torn and wilted, while others had been uprooted completely. A large branch lay on the ground, and snapped off one of the bushes. The petals of the lily were scattered on the ground as if in pain. It was a sorry sight indeed. The villagers were furious, and they held Samir responsible for the state of the garden. They stormed over to his house and demanded an explanation. Samir, who had been tending to his own small vegetable patch when the villagers arrived, was taken aback by their anger. He listened to their accusations calmly, and then, without a word, went straight to the garden. The villagers followed him, their faces grim and their voices echoing with discontent. When they reached the garden, Samir turned around and faced them. He looked at the damaged plants and then back at the villagers. "I am sorry that the plants have been damaged," he began, his voice filled with remorse. "But I want you to know that it was not my fault. The storm was so fierce that it would have been impossible for anyone to save these plants." As Samir spoke, the villagers' anger began to subside, and they started to understand that he was right. It had been a freak storm, and no one could have predicted or prevented the damage it had caused. "I understand that this is no excuse," Samir continued, "but please believe me when I say that I will work hard to restore the garden to its former glory. I promise that it will be even more beautiful than before." Touched by his sincerity, the villagers apologized for accusing him and asked him to start the restoration work right away. Samir smiled and got to work immediately. He cleared away the debris and began planting new flowers. The villagers joined him, and soon the garden was a flurry of activity as everyone worked together to bring it back to life. Days turned into weeks, and the garden slowly began to heal. New buds appeared where there had been wilted stems, and the air filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers once again. The villagers came to see the progress every day, and their faces were filled with admiration and gratitude when they saw how far they had come. Finally, the day arrived when Samir and the villagers stood back to admire their work. The garden was more beautiful than ever before. The flowers were in full bloom, and the air was filled with their sweet fragrance. The villagers were overjoyed and thanked Samir for his hard work and dedication. They realized that he had not only restored the garden, but had also taught them an important lesson about accountability and commitment. From that day on, the villagers admired and respected Samir even more than before. And the story of the honest gardener became a legend in the village, reminding everyone that taking responsibility for one's actions, no matter how difficult, leads to trust and success.